City, the Football League champions of 2013.
Cardiff City are heading for the Premier League.
Be a champion.
Brilliant St. Marshall. Turner just gets back there. Nugent stood his ground brilliantly. Robbed by Taylor. Played away by Connolly. The captain, Mark Hudson.
You can be the greatest. You can be the best.
Goodison with the throw. Neat little turn by Kim. Whittingham, he's in good position. Noon looks up. Conway tucks inside. Much curls it in. Gaston touches and it's in.
Helderson scores with a header.
Mason, can he finish it? He can! Joe Mason scores!
What an amazing impact from Fraser Campbell.
Bellamy drills it and scores! What a goal from Craig Bellamy!
When you're standing in the hall, be a champion.
Swansea City are waiting. Manchester United and Manchester City are waiting. Chelsea are waiting for Cardiff City to arrive. Cardiff City are going to the Premier League. 51 years they've waited to go back, and this time, after all their recent failures, the Neely men have nailed it. It's party time again for Cardiff City. They've got the point, which means they're not just promoted, but they're champions of the Football League.
Whittingham played for Aston Villa before dropping down to Championship level, so fair to say then that he's eager to impress this afternoon.
Whittingham hits it over the wall. Oh, it's a fantastic goal from Peter Whittingham, who scores a hat-trick. The crowd are up on their feet. It's an absolutely blinding free kick from Whittingham. Oh, what quality he brings to those set pieces.
Once you've obviously going for the whole roller coaster thing where you think you might be going up and then it doesn't happen and then you finally get there, it's just pretty surreal. It's going to be a big year for everyone involved in it, and we're going to need everyone, but it's something that we just can't wait for.
What gives you the confidence that you can survive? Because the three who come up are always the favourites to go straight back down.
I think the signings that the gaffer's made, he's made some very good signings, and then the boys that we've already got. We've got some really good players here, and we've got a big squad, and we did really well in the Championship last year. So it's just a case of taking off from there, carrying it on, getting results when we can, and then not getting too disheartened when we don't get any.
The experience of, like yourself and Craig Bellamy, having been at that level before, will that come into play, do you think?
I think the experience of everyone, to be honest, we've got a lot of players that have played a lot of games through the years, so it's going to be needed. We're all going to be needed. As I say, if you go a game without winning, it's a case of bouncing back and going on to the next one. And then when you do, it's staying grounded and knowing that you need a few points to stay in this league.
Have you met the pit bull yet?
I've literally just walked past him there. I was a bit nervous, to be honest, but he shook my hand and seemed fine, so I'll take that as good.
But I mean, the arrival of him and Stephen Colker, do you think it takes the club to a different level?
Yeah, I think there's probably more of a buzz around the place now. When you see that sort of money being spent and things like that, you know it's for the good of the club, and I'm sure they do well. Stephen's doing really well in pre-season games and stuff like that, so it'll be it's a big ask for them to live up to the hype and all that, but I'm sure they're ready for it.
And I mean, you've always, even in the Championship, people were saying, as you said, clubs came in for you, you turned it down. You've been seen as a Premier League player playing at the step below. How much of a point is there for you personally to prove, maybe to others, or maybe just to yourself, that you can cut it at the top level?
Yeah, I think it's a point for everyone to be proven. It's going to be a big ask. It's the next step up. It's about people acclimatising to that and then going again. As I say, we won the Championship last year. We looked good, and I think we were top from November or whatever it was. So it's a case of stepping up again. We know we're good enough, and we're just looking forward to it.
Have you got a point to prove?
Yeah, I suppose you're looking for your line here. I suppose. Yeah, I suppose I've got my I've got a point to prove. I've obviously got release from Villa and stuff like that. So it's going to be a big point for me personally, and one that I'm relishing.
Settle for 17th now?
We just want to do it as well as we can and pick up as many points as we can. We know it's going to be hard, but it's all about staying up.
Thanks for the line.
That's unlike you, Rob Phillips, looking for a line. Although Peter Whittingham, by the way, for listeners who have just tuned in, the pitbull is Gary Medel, their new signing, the new Chilean international. And all of a sudden, Rob, when you consider that there are new midfielders, coming into the club. There's real competition for places for the likes of Whittingham.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of Cardiff fans will be excited by the prospect of Kim Bo-kyung, who flourished at the end of last season, getting a Premier League stage. Gary Medel, well, we've read so much about him, probably seen a lot of him on the internet this week. He's infamous, his reputation goes before him, and I think it is up to Peter Whittingham to deliver. You hit it, I mean, I had to squeeze it out of him, but he has got a point to prove. He did give me the line, but he was telling the truth. The trouble is, he reads my mind so well, Simon. That's the problem.
He has got a point to prove, though, Jason, because towards the end of last season, when you looked at Malky's first 11, Whittingham wasn't in it.
Yeah, I think he was tired. I think Peter Whittingham his game has improved so much at Cardiff City, Simon. I think the old Peter Whittingham, the one at Aston Villa, the one that managers and coaches questioned if he had the appetite, is gone. When you see him in a Cardiff City shirt now, not only can he pass the ball, you can't question that, he sees the passes that others don't even see from the stand. He now tracks back, he puts the mileage in, he closes people down, and he worked his socks off in a difficult championship. And I felt that maybe he caught up on him, and Malky's rested him. But to survive in this division, you need to be challenged, and I'm sure Peter Whittingham will be one of those players who will step up to that challenge. He will have to train hard to get in the team, and that's healthy. But it's a squad that is getting better and better. But like I said, there still needs to be 2-3 more players added to add competition everywhere around the field.
Well, you suspect Peter Whittingham and the other midfielders will be protected by the pit bull, Jason. I bet you've got some advice for him, given your temperament when you played for Cardiff City. And I mean that respectfully.
Well, the game's changed slightly too. I mean, we could put a challenge in, and 2 or 3 mistime challenges. Referee'd have a chat to you, and then you thought, well, I better start looking at things. You can't do that in the Premier League anymore. Your first mistime challenge and you're off. But I think, yes, he's aggressive. We all know that. Okay, he's been in the bad books once or twice with red cards, but there's more to his game. To do and play at the level he has, to mark people like Messi out of the game, it's not just about tackling, Simon. It's about positioning yourselves at times. You can be a good defender by standing up and putting yourself in positions that stops the opposition from feeding your centre forwards, giving information across, squeezing at the right time, leading others in and around you. Some of the things that may not be so easy to identify from the stand, but he's certainly a big signing, and I'm very excited to get my first eyes on him.
We've worked hard for the last 6 weeks. There's a lot of people put a lot of work in terms of the organisation of the football club and the plan going forward for us starting the season. So there's a lot of work actually going back in behind the scenes again, just dealing with the players and actually getting ready to actually go to Upton Park tomorrow and play the game as opposed to the occasion. Like the lead up to the Carling Cup semi-final and final, the lead up to playoffs. Players know how to deal with that. They get into the vein of when they train and how they prepare, and my staff, especially in the way that we work, in terms of being regimented and organised. Players know where they've got to be at what time, what they've got to wear, how they're going to train, when they're going to do opposition analysis, when we're going to do set pieces, things like that. And that is something that you can hold on to that gives you order leading up to a game, and it's what we do every week. So great, in terms of the hype for the football club and the spotlight that we're under in terms of you guys. But the actual, when you get down to the nuts and bolts of it, we're going on the pitch to play against the football team and go and play what we do best.
Cardiff City are going to the Premier League! 51 years they've waited to go back to the top flight, and this time, after all their recent failures, the Neely men have nailed it.
The club has come a huge distance in a short space of time, relatively, with help from a lot of people over a long period to get it to this point. But as far as myself, my staff, the group that are here, we want to keep striving and making the club better in terms of facilities, in terms of staff we bring in, and absolutely in terms of players we bring in. And we have to try and get the best players to this football club, and I won't apologise for that. And I'll take my time and do it in the way that I think is best for the club. It was never going to be about quantity this summer. It was always going to be about quality, and that takes patience, and it takes having been criticised, and it's fine, because at the end of the day I know exactly what I want and how I want to go about it, and we've managed to get some real quality into the building.
Vincent Dunn, the Cardiff owner.
What would you do after you spend 35 million? We expect him and his squad to do the best and keep us there, God willing. So I would expect him what you guys would expect him to do. If you spend 35 million, if you're in my shoe, we all need to deliver results in whatever we do on a daily basis. So we hope and pray that the team, the squad will do well, and all of us will be in the Premier League for a long, long time.
He's expected results since last summer when I was offered the job. Then it was a 3-year plan, which became a 2-year plan when the owner took a more hands-on role last summer. His task to me was to be promoted last summer. That's expectation and that's pressure. So I've had that for a year, so it's just an ongoing thing. Football managers are under pressure every week.
If I offered you 17th now, would you take it?
No, I'll take my chances.
Rob Phillips with the questions to Malky Mackay. Rob alongside Jason Perry at Upton Park as we approach kick-off. And Jason, will Malky be aware that last season 2 of the promoted managers, that being Brian McDermott and Nigel Adkins, were fired for not bringing results in despite spending money? Will he be aware of that, and does that bring its own pressure?
No, as Marty said, he was aware of that as soon as he walked through the doors. As soon as he was given that job, there was pressure. Because Dave Jones, he didn't quite get Cardiff City to where they are now, the Premier League, but he was there and thereabouts. And let's not forget, when Dave Jones left, he piled a little bit more pressure on Malky, didn't he, by saying, well, obviously, if I were to leave, they're going to replace me with somebody that feels they could do better. Well, Malky has done that. It is a pressure job. The Premier League is a pressure place to be, but he loves it. When you listen to his interviews, he embraces that pressure. And to be a good manager, a successful manager, for a team to go do well and move up the league, you need to be able to handle everything that comes before you, and he does that.
And Vincent Tan has taken his place in the director's box at West Ham alongside the life president of Cardiff City, the new life president, Sam Hammam. We are counting down now towards the big kick-off for Cardiff in the Premier League. Let's get a team news reminder from Rob Phillips.
Yes, the Cardiff City side is Marshall in goal, Connolly, the debutant Colker, Turner, Declan Joe making his debut, the teenager. Gary Medell in midfield making his bow, Peter Whittingham, Kimbo Keong, Gunnarsson, Bellamy and Campbell on the bench, Lewis Maynard, Cowie Gusted, Much, Smith and Hudson, and West Ham including Wales international James Collins, but no place for Andy Carroll, he's still injured.
Cardiff City players go into a huddle away to our left. A huge roar from the West Ham faithful who packed in today under grey skies here in East London. The floodlights are on already, and the 2013-2014 Premier League season is about to get underway. Some of it will turn your stomach and make you sick. Some of it will make your spirit soar. Premier League football is a bit like that, and it's underway for the new campaign with West Ham attacking from right to left in this first 45 minutes. And there's an early touch from Matthew Connolly down that right-hand side for Cardiff. He knocks it towards the halfway line. Mark Noble intercepts, but he can't control it. And in midfield, Guy Demel and Mark Noble are getting involved. Noble has fouled Kimbo Keong, who I think is going to operate on maybe the right-hand side of the midfield 3, or midfield 5, if you like. We'll see how these
he's a talented player, Nick. He's Kimbo Young. I see him playing a pre-season friendly at Brentford. Scored that evening, very positive, makes forward runs. West Ham are going to have to track that from midfield.
Here's a free kick towards the edge of the West Ham penalty area, headed away by James Collins. Joe Cole will try and run this clear, but it's picked up by Peter Whittingham. He's having to go right back inside his own half. Great harrowing and hassling by Joe Cole. He'll be hoping for a decent season after those problems he had at Liverpool and then coming back into the West Ham team halfway through last season. And Malky Mackay, in his first minutes as a Premier League football manager, is already on the edge of his technical area. And there are a few boos for Craig Bellamy. Didn't necessarily expect the odd boo for him, but it wasn't overwhelming, just a few people. That's flicked on by Fraser Campbell for Cardiff, but doesn't find another yellow shirt. And James Collins has it again. Clips this forward towards the edge of the Cardiff box. Connolly heads this away. He had Matt Jarvis behind him. He's going to go out for a West Ham throw, which Joey O'Brien's going to take level with the edge of the Cardiff penalty area. You're listening to Premier League football on BBC London 94.9, live at Upton Park, and it is grey. They said it might rain later. It's not that warm either. West Ham are on the attack. Here's O'Brien dragging this onto his right foot. Three waiting for the cross. Comes towards the far post, looking for Nolan. Headed away by Cardiff's defence, but only just. Drops to O'Brien again. Nice little pass out from the left-hand side, and Jarvis sends this up to the far post. Joe Cole tries to head it in, but he can't direct the header. He was under pressure as he jumped as well. And that sort of cross is the sort of cross, it really is irrelevant to say this, really. I'm going to say it anyway. Sort of cross that Andy Carroll would have really thrived on.
Yeah, meat and drink for the England striker. It was just hanging in the air, a fraction too long for Joe Cole, and there was slight contact made by Whittingham as he come round on the cover, and he couldn't keep and direct it on the target. But typical start from West Ham. I think you call that putting it into the prime goal-scoring zone. Big diagonal from Collins, winner throwing in the final third. They get a delivery into the box, and they cause their opponents problems. Sam Allardyce's strategic play.
Here's a throw-in for QPR on halfway, for West Ham rather, on halfway, which will be taken by Guy Demel, and he will look to maybe find Joe Cole, who dashes towards the halfway line, but instead the target is Maiga. Again, he's out-jumped by two Cardiff players, and then Declan John hooks this over the halfway line. Campbell tries to hold it up, in goes Demel once again. He's won another throw-in, and he takes it quickly into the feet of Kevin Nolan. Back it goes to Winston Reid, and it's the first time West Ham have really knocked it around at the back. This is O'Brien, just into Cardiff territory. I think Jarvis might have been caught there, but the referee has waved advantage. Now Noble feeds this down the channel. Joe Cole after it, and that's gathered by David Marshall. Now, was it gathered outside the penalty area? No, not according to the referee. Well, welcome to Premier League football, Gary Medal. He's just been penalised for a foul on the halfway line. It's a free kick to West Ham. Paid a lot of money for him, Bradley, as you were saying. He may be a bit of a loose cannon, but maybe they think they'll be able to make him knuckle under.
A bit like Corzola, isn't he, in stature and size, about 5'7", diminutive player with lots of technical ability. So Cardiff, when they play through that midfield area, would be looking for him to get on the football for them.
Here's Collins' delivery into the Cardiff penalty area. Maiga gets something on this. It's been nodded wide by Nolan, and the flag was up anyway. Well, Maiga did manage to make a nuisance of himself in that area. We talk about the lack of height with no Andy Carroll, but he jumped well, to be fair to him, didn't he? The rather more sort of stringy live wire player than Carroll, who's such a big battering ram. But to be fair to him, he won that header, and Nolan was just fractionally offside.
Yeah, it was a straight ball, wasn't it? High spinning. They didn't really deal with it defensively, Cardiff. Good jump, Maiga, between two players. His flick on, and Nolan actually went a fraction early. His headed attempt from Maiga's flick on ended up going wide of the goal.
Kuhn going to ground again, and fouled, according to the referee, by Mark Noble, who has a real old shout at the official, Mr. Webb.
Just a bit too eager there, wasn't he, Mark Noble, on Kim Do-kyung, just outside the corner of the 18-yard box on this near right-hand side. A little nudge in the back, he went to ground.
Yes, Whittingham's having a look. Connolly's in there as well. Turner's a physical presence. Stephen Corker, well, we know about him from Hotspur. Here's a drive from Whittingham, and it goes just wide. That one's going to go out of play, and Jussi Jääskeläinen just watches it fade away to his left, and it's another free kick to West Ham inside their own half of the field. As I said, not a huge amount of drama as yet. Sam Allardyce has just come to the edge of his technical area to get his point of view across. And Collins again will launch this long. And again, Maiga's going to try and jump for this. It's headed up in the air by Corker, but not clear. Maiga tries to get hold of it. It's still buzzing around inside that Cardiff penalty area. It's cleared to Fraser Campbell. And now here's Craig Bellamy, who I think has barely touched the football so far. Now he gets I mean, I suppose the way he left the club was a little acrimonious. He expressed a desire to leave and go to Liverpool. So I'm sure West Ham fans have a few memories about that. Down that left-hand side comes Declan John now. First real run from him, and well sorted out by Joe Cole, who's looked pretty fit and lively over the course of the opening 8 minutes or so here at Upton Park. Demel's getting into difficulties down by the corner flag, and it's lifted towards halfway, where it's picked up by Medel for Cardiff City, just starting to knock the ball around a little bit. Here's Ben Turner. Down the channel it goes for Cardiff, but Demel is watching it closely. Dribbles out of play. This is played forward to Maiga. He's inside the penalty area. Nolan's trying to support him. Back to Demel. Cross clipped into the box. It might drop now to Jarvis. Did he use his hand? No, says the referee, but it's scrambled away from him. Oh, nearly picked up by Noble, the second ball, but instead Kyung is coming forward now for Cardiff City, and they might have a chance to counter-attack here. He's run a very long way, and he shoots low and wide, and he had options either side of him, and from what we know of Craig Bellamy, he will not hesitate to have a word with the South Korean debutant today and say to him, I was alongside you, you should have passed to me, and I would have scored.
Well, there was the opportunity on the counter-attack. The chance initially for Jarvis at the far post. His first touch was too good between his feet. It was intercepted, and Kim broke ever so well. But what a run from Craig Bellamy, all of 65 yards, overlapped on the outside left, and he just had to be slid through. Kim was a bit selfish, shot from the edge of the box and wide of Jussi Jaskalainen's goal.
Still 0-0, but it shows what Cardiff can do on the counter-attack. Here come West Ham again. Joe Cole, his cross, looking for Jarvis, he won't quite get there. And once again, West Ham are putting all these crosses in, and they're good crosses. There have been a number of really, really good balls into the box, and you get the feeling that if Andy Carroll was on the pitch, he would have caused mayhem inside that Cardiff penalty area. Well, here goes Diame. West Ham coming forward again down their left-hand side. This is Jarvis, goes on the outside of Connolly, drills it low into the penalty area. Cole with his back to goal, down shoots and scores! West Ham have liftoff at Upton Park in this season's Premier League, and it is Joe Cole who latched onto a cross with his back to goal and was given time and space to turn and drill it low past David Marshall. 13 minutes gone, West Ham 1, Cardiff City 0.
Well, you can't keep making chances and not taking them. Brilliant play from Jarvis. He knows Andy Carroll's not in the middle, so what does he do? A flatter, lower cutback delivery, and Joe Cole swiveled on a sixpence, bottom right-hand corner. What a finish. Cole of old, West Ham 1 up.
He has started very brightly, Joe Cole, I think. We've seen him closing down, chasing back, doing all the kind of things that you'd want him to do, and that was a terrific finish.
Beautiful strike, crisp shot. No chance of David Marshall, the Cardiff City goalkeeper. Full credit to West Ham. They have had the better of this first 13 minutes.
Here's Cole again, inside the penalty area. Jinking run, blocked by Corker. Comes out to Noble, who volleys it into the Cardiff fans away to our left. Didn't quite get it as he would have wanted, but nevertheless, he had a go. But again, I suppose that shows confidence. He was under no pressure there, and he thought, you know what, there's a host of players in front of me. I'm going to bang it in and see what happens. And that's well sorted out by Diame. And here's Jarvis, who set the goal up, and he turns and crosses halfway. There's loads of space for him to run into. Bellamy had gone missing on that side. Here's Diame again, trying to funnel it forward, and that's cut out by Bellamy, and he tries to get Cardiff moving forward once again. Here's Kyung in centre field, looks up and glides past Nolan, picked up by Medel, but there's a foot in by Diame just to disrupt Cardiff's progress. Peter Whittingham was the man, in fact, who was penalised. Fraser Campbell does cut a rather remote figure up front at times, doesn't he?
He's isolated, isn't he? And with, you know, the presence of Collins and Reid, it should be fairly comfortable for both the West Ham centre halves, because at times they've gone from back to front. They haven't tried to play through midfield all the time of the visitors, and you know, they've regained the football numerous times, West Ham, all too easy for my liking, and I think that's what will disappoint Malky.
I suppose there's an element when you've come into the Premier League, and Cardiff haven't been in this division or the top division for 51 years, an element of learning, and I'm sure already in the opening 20 minutes
bit of fear as well, Nick, isn't it?
Yeah, you know, it's...
They'd rather give the ball away in West Ham's half than take risks and play out, and they're sort of in a little bit of a conundrum almost, and I think the West Ham players sense that. They know they get another goal here, and they're well on their way to the first victory of the season.
It's a free kick to West Ham on the halfway line. James Collins is going to take it, and I can tell you with certainty he's not going to play this short. Everyone's gone forward into the penalty area. Here it comes, looking for Nolan, headed away, picked up by Noble, who instead of shooting this time decides to control the ball and gives it to O'Brien, who lifts this back into the mix. Maiga's going for this, headed away by Turner. Diame might pick this up, he can shoot from here, he does shoot low and wide. He was on his left foot and he swung at it slightly, but again, West Ham swarming all over Cardiff when they come forward. Noble breaking forward, feeds Cole, who's onside, he's on the edge of the penalty area, quite a bit to do. Oh, he tries to chip Marshall, and that went horribly wrong. Marshall wasn't off his line. Well, it's easy to say from here, but drill that either side of David Marshall, and that is 2-0 and game over. This is headed away by Medal and picked up now by Fraser Campbell, who's dropped a little deeper. It's Kyung going down that right-hand side, attacking the edge of the penalty area, into the box, wide to Connolly, who drills this low into the penalty area. Fraser nearly gets beyond Reid. There's a challenge on Fraser Campbell, and it goes out of play for a goal kick in the end to West Ham United. Here we're watching Cardiff knocking around at the back is Ben Turner, and he slams his clearance into Nolan, and it goes out of play for a goal kick, and he gets a little bit of abuse, shall we say, from the Cardiff. I'm going to say he gets a lot of abuse from the Cardiff City supporters.
He does, yes.
Here's Kyung for Cardiff centre field, feeds it down the channel. Fraser Campbell inside the West Ham box, forced wide by Reed. Campbell tries to keep it in play. The two of them tangle for it, goes out for a Cardiff throw. And Fraser Campbell really is feeding off scraps. I think Matthew Connolly's going to be booked for that challenge on Matt Jarvis a bit earlier. Good refereeing by Howard Webb. Comes back and punishes him. And but yeah, just on that issue with Fraser Campbell, I mean, he's had absolutely no help, has he, so far?
No, he's been starved really of service and support. But as you said, the referee did particularly well there. That was consistent. He had observed the play. He allowed the advantage for West Ham. But Connolly definitely made, you know, a rash challenge from behind on Jarvis, down on this near left-hand side touchline, and it's a yellow card for the Cardiff City fullback.
There's Malky Mackay again, just trying to get some advice onto the field of play. Sam Allardyce once more just having a word, I think, with Jarvis about how he wants things to operate on that left-hand side. West Ham have cleared their lines. It's a throw into Cardiff. And well, the Cardiff fans objecting to the fact there's no noise from the West Ham. I think what you're hearing is contentment more than anything else. You know, they started positively, they've scored, and they've not looked like conceding. You'd have taken that 27 minutes into the season, wouldn't you?
Absolutely. You know, the only slight danger has been Kim Kyung, hasn't he? A few times where he's made little runs in between the lines and got on the half turn. He can carry the ball.
Clearance for Cardiff into the penalty area, runs loose, and Nolan just about scrambles it away. For a second there, West Ham were not exactly at the races. Now here's Declan John coming forward down the left, and he's going to give it to Peter Whittingham, who gets a cross in. It's blocked by Cole, back doing some defensive work. Throwing on the far side to Cardiff. The first proper moment where you thought, oh dear, come on West Ham, wake up. Cardiff have lost some of the impetus because they, despite having that throw in an advanced area, have been forced all the way back to their goalkeeper, David Marshall. He clears downfield, Demel wins the header, and that's going to bounce out of play. It's going to be kept in by Whittingham, who just hooks it up in the air. It's a nothing ball, and then Collins' clearance is not ideal. It might fall to Kyung on the flank, but again, Collins is too clever for that, and he just clips it out of play for a throw-in. Now here's Fraser Campbell on the edge of the box, shoots low, blocked well by Nolan. Flung himself in the way. That might sting for a little while, but he tried to get a shot away, did Fraser Campbell, and Nolan was good enough to get in the way of it. Headed away by Demel as Cardiff again come forward. West Ham maybe slightly loosening their grip. Well, having said that, they just want it back through Noble, but Cardiff had spent a little more time on the football. That's again rugged play by Joe Cole. He looks bang up for it today, you have to say, and now he's gone down under a challenge from Declan John, or is it Peter Whittingham on that side? I think it is. It's a free kick to West Ham on halfway, and Cole will pick himself up. But he's been at the heart of everything for West Ham, one way or the other.
Got his left Achilles clip there from Peter Whittingham on the touchline. Bit of respite because they found a little bit of control, Cardiff, in their play, and they were working the ball without really threatening too much. West Ham opted to drop back in, but...
And now Demel picks it up, and it goes wide to Noble, who feeds it forward. Diame gets away from his man, faced by Whittingham down by the Cardiff corner flag. That's not a bad cross. Drops to Jarvis, who can't head it in. Just kind of skimmed over his eyebrows as he tried to take off. And that has gone out of play for a corner. It must have come off a Cardiff player last. First corner of the game to West Ham United. And Jarvis thinks about playing it short. And he is, in fact, going to bide his time. So first set piece of this sort from the left. Jarvis to take it in swinging. And Reed has gone forward. Diame in there as well. And Jarvis with his right foot now clips this towards the edge of the 6-yard box. It's headed up in the air by Connolly. Had to get there first because there were West Ham players arriving in support. Fraser Campbell has run this away from danger. Here's Kyung, and Bellamy is forward, and Kyung can't find it. Bellamy went inside, Kyung went outside, and it's back with Jussi Askelainen, and it's still West Ham 1, Cardiff 0.
Well, apart from one counter-attack, they've not done and caused West Ham any problems whatsoever, Cardiff, have they, Nick, when they've tried to break? They've been a bit laboured. Their quality of play has lacked accuracy, and every time West Ham get that ball and get an entry into the final third, whether it's from a throw-in, a free kick, a corner, you do feel that they've got more goals in them this afternoon.
Picked up by Diame, who gets it wide to Jarvis down that left-hand side. Here come West Ham once again. Jarvis goes on the outside, then tries to drag it back onto his right foot. Connolly still with him. Diame helping him out. 3 to aim at in the box. He's tricking his way towards the edge of the penalty area. Stands this up towards the far post, claimed by Marshall, with Maiga putting him under pressure, and he snuffs out the danger. It is Diame bustling away again down that left-hand side. He's becoming increasingly influential as well. Aaron Gunnarsson's got his work cut out. That's a good stretch by Corker to steer it away from Jarvis, because Diame's pass had Jarvis away down that left-hand side. And Corker, making his debut for Cardiff today, stretched out a leg and cut it out. O'Brien is waiting for, I think, a few more reinforcements to arrive in the box for this throw, which is played short to Maiga, who brings it down, gives it to Diame down that left-hand side. He's got Gunnarsson ahead of him. He's going to try and drive into the box now. Diame, he's done well. He's down. Oh, that shot's deflected and just wide. Came off Connolly and was, for a few brief split seconds, heading towards the bottom corner. It went wide. It's a West Ham corner.
Oh, that was a pile driver, wasn't it? Not so sure it was actually on target, but the deflection spun it from one side of the near post towards the far, and it was about a yard wide. Wicked deviation there on the ball.
Here's the corner from Cole, and there's Collins' header. It's wide. He doesn't make contact. It's gone out for a throw, actually, but James Collins took off and was in full flight as he made contact with the football. Came off the wrong bit of his head, I suppose. Here's Kim Bio-kyung coming forward now, and he's giving it to Fraser Campbell. The shot from Whittingham is charged down by Nolan, and Noble's going to run it clear for West Ham. Once again, West Ham dealing with the problems posed by Cardiff City, and I have to say that Gary Medal, this big signing on his debut, well, he's not exactly influenced things, has he, so far? I mean, it's very difficult to come from another league, arrive in a new country and a new team, but they're putting an awful lot of hopes on him. They spent a great deal of money on him, and I'm not sure he's touched the ball in the last 20 minutes.
Well, and even when he has, he's almost received it between both centre defenders, Corker and Turner, like almost like a sweeper, really too deep, and no influence on the game, and he looks a bit short of match fitness as well.
I'm pleased to tell you Gary Medal is now on the ball, the Chilean, trying to get Cardiff started. He is just sitting in front of the back four, isn't he? And can't really, well, they say you can't afford to do that these days. You've got to be more up and down in the Premier League. I'm sure that'll be something that will be discussed at length. That's a foul on Peter Whittingham by Mark Noble, and a free kick to Cardiff. The free kick which Craig Bellamy and Peter Whittingham are looking after. Gary Medal has also said, I quite fancy this. It's a long way out, 30 odd yards, maybe slightly less, and there's a long discussion about who is going to strike this. Whittingham plays it short, looking for Corker, headed away by Reed. You can see what Cardiff are trying to do, but Reed was able to get above Stephen Corker, and then Whittingham stops West Ham hitting Cardiff on the break by sliding that out of play for a throw-in on the halfway line. And O'Brien is going to take it. You can see they were desperate to get Maiga away down the flank. Here's Craig Bellamy inside his own half. Formerly of West Ham United, of course. Gets it out wide to Connolly on this right flank. Angled back into Medal, rather, who gets it wide to the left-hand side now. And it's kept in play on that flank by Declan John, who's a youngster who's come through the ranks at Cardiff. This may only be his second appearance in the league for Cardiff City. He's picking up experience all the time, and he's got Joe Cole to handle today. Here's Corker making his way forward, uses Gunnarsson alongside him. West Ham have just edged back inside their own half. We're about to find out how long will be added on at the end of this first half, and there will be a solitary minute. Here goes John down that side, gets help from Whittingham. Suddenly they're knocking it around at Cardiff City, angled into the box by Bellamy, but it races past Connolly and Fraser Campbell, who both dashed into the penalty area. And once again, not a bead of sweat on the brow of any of the West Ham defenders. Cole again down the right, dispossessed and funneled forward. Kim Bio-kyung was involved, and he's on the ball once again down that left-hand side, and Campbell's got away down the left edge of the penalty area, and the flag's up. Well, that kind of sums up Cardiff City's approach, or how they've found their approach over the course of this opening 45 minutes, and Howard Webb says, you know what, that'll do.
Yes, it was a difficult first half for Cardiff City. They were under pressure almost from the off. Actually, they did make a bright start, but they fell behind after 13 minutes. Matt Jarvis, a constant threat down the left, cross from that side, and Joe Cole got in behind the defence and turned it home neatly from close range. Other than that, Connolly has struggled really. He's been booked as well, so he has to be careful. Cardiff have not had a shot on target so far, although Jason Perry, the last 10 minutes or so, they did start to find their feet as an attacking threat.
Yeah, they started to get players forward. As we said in commentary, at times Fraser Campbell was isolated up front because Bellamy was forced back to defend. Whittingham, Kimbo Young was forced back, and when they got possession of the ball, Cardiff, they couldn't get anything to Fraser Campbell, and if they did, then Fraser would lose it because he's waiting for some kind of support. But we've talked about how West Ham play, and they're doing that. They get into wide areas and crossing the ball. Cardiff have to look to solve that problem.
Nobody said the Premier League was going to be easy, and it isn't. Half-time, West Ham United 1, Cardiff City 0.
They're underway in this second half, attacking the Bobby Moore stand, and here is Modibo Maiga. It was one of the success stories of this first half. We thought we might be talking about him a bit more. He goes on a mazy run into the penalty area, gets closed down, given to Diame. Diame drives it over the top, and David Marshall asks some questions of his defenders again. He's talking to the new signing, Gary Medal, about what he wants from him defensively. I'm not sure he's getting quite what he wants at the moment, you get the feeling. Here come West Ham again. It's good work by Jarvis, who sends a cross into the box looking for Nolan, headed away. Kyung's going to clear that away from danger. Get some help from Corker as well. And Cardiff are trying to play through the gears once again inside their own half of the field. Wide to Kyung on the right flank from Bellamy, and Bellamy gallops past him, and the South Korean cuts in field. Gives it to Medal now in the centre of the pitch, and he gets it out wide to the left-hand side, and John, now here's Kyung once again, who sees quite a lot of the football, and he's been clipped there by Mohamed Diame, and it's going to be a free kick to Cardiff down their left-hand side, about 10 yards in from the touchline. Dangerous one this. Maiga's come back into the penalty area to help out. Corker's gone forward, so's Ben Turner. Peter Whittingham is going to strike this. He won't shoot, it's too far out and too wide.
Bellamy's coming over, isn't he, to offer a little bit of support. I wonder if he's going to in-swing this one, or with Whittingham's left foot, this is going to come away from Jyskalainen and the goal.
Here is the in-swinger, and it's headed up in the air by Maiga again, who they tried to clear with the first ball in, but they didn't, and Maiga's able to sweep it away. They've won it back though, have Cardiff. Here's Kyung once again, gives it to Bellamy down the left. He's got two players in front of him, scoops across towards the far post, but it's over everybody. Fraser Campbell's the only man in the box. He's standing on the penalty spot, sails over his head, and out of play for a goal kick. Turner rises and wins that header, finds Bellamy. You get the feeling if it's going to happen through Craig Bellamy. As Medal knocks this forward, and it's picked up by Kyung on that right-hand side. He's got Connolly in support, but he plays it square to Bellamy, who lets it run to Gunnarsson, and Gunnarsson's going to try and play this forward, looking for Fraser Campbell, but here goes Jyskalainen, and then did Campbell head it out of his hands? It's going to go out for a corner. Howard Webb took a long time about making that decision, but if he's headed it out of his hands, then it's got to be a goal kick, surely.
Nick, you know what you're going to set me up to say then, is there contact made? He smothered all over him, Jyskalainen, didn't he? It was a poor touch initially from Fraser Campbell. They had a good overload on the edge of the box. For once, West Ham were a little bit stretched. Cardiff have a corner here that Bellamy's going to take.
And they've kept those big units forward. It's lifted in towards the edge of the 6-yard box. It's a real scramble, still not away. They've still got to get it clear. Reed's battling with it. In goes Collins, took clear by Nolan in the end. What a stramash inside that 6-yard box. No one was able to get hold of the football at all. It was chaos, but West Ham have got away with it. Here is Noble as he launches this long, and Jarvis tries to get goal side of the defender, and Jarvis has the ball inside the box now, faced by Whittingham, still going, left-footed drive well wide. Well, the ball goes from one end of the pitch to the other, frenetic play at both ends, but yeah, there's all sorts, isn't there, to pick out of the last couple of minutes, Bradley, but there were so many players inside the West Ham 6-yard area, no one was able to make a clean contact on the football.
Well, it was like a corner kick, an 18-yard box on a Sunday morning at Hackney Marshes, wasn't it? It was a real melee, crowded with players. Nobody seemed to be able to clear it from a West Ham point of view. Eventually, when they did, halfway in his half. Nolan hit a great diagonal ball, 1v1 for Jarvis, and he was a bit wasteful in his finish, but they are throwing a few bodies forward here. Looks as if Campbell's gone down. He's took a knock. Caldwell's given another free kick. It's all happening, Nicholas.
There might be a yellow card here for Joe Cole. No, it's just a free kick to Cardiff. It is all happening. Jarvis is okay. There's a Cardiff player who's gone down injured. I think he's going to be okay. It's going to be a free kick to Cardiff in a dangerous position. This one's slightly closer than their last set-piece effort. I still don't think Craig Bellamy will shoot from here. It's still pretty wide, over 25 yards from goal. And in fact, it's been marched back by Howard Webb, so there'll be a reset. Free kicks being lined up by a combination of Whittingham and Bellamy once again. It is Bellamy who strikes that with plenty of zip, headed away by Kevin Nolan, picked up by Martin Noble on the edge of his penalty area, and West Ham are going to try and come forward. Joe Cole's clearance is charged down by Bellamy, and it's going to be a throw-in to West Ham deep inside their own half of the field. Well, it's one of the greatest quality the first 6 minutes of this second half, Bradley, but there has been plenty going on out there.
Well, and Cardiff have, you know, stretched the play, been a bit more expansive rather than just dropping back in all too deep like they was for the majority of the first. I think it will open the football match up as a spectacle, and West Ham, if they do it right, may well be able to take advantage of that.
Here is Joe Cole down the right-hand side for West Ham. Maiga and Nolan in the box. Cole's been faced by two defenders. Demel alongside him. Demel's cross into the box, looking for Nolan. He can't get hold of it. He might have been pushed, actually, as he tried to get hold of that. There was a bit of a coming together with Corker. Diame's going to try and pick this up on the edge of the Cardiff box again, but Gunnarsson should be able to run this clear. Get some help from Declan John down the right, but again Nolan is charging that one down, full of go, looking pretty lively. Kevin Nolan's had a pretty good start to his Premier League campaign as well, hasn't he?
Yeah, it looks as if he's got himself in good shape as well, to be fair. Worked hard pre-season. He is a player that likes to get out on the training pitch. He knows the condition of his body. He has to, you know, work at it from a physical point of view, so then he can fulfill the minutes. But once he gets a run at it, Kevin Nolan played a lot of games during his career, and he's a very experienced member now of this West Ham side.
Here's Fraser Campbell for Cardiff. Clipped forward and fouled. A free kick to Cardiff. This is very central, and it's 30 yards from goal. Keep conceding free kicks, West Ham, in this
Well, I
sort of
think
area.
Malcolm Mackay is just saying to the fourth official, you know, Matt Connolly made one challenge of that type on Jarvis, and he got a yellow card. Bit of consistency wanted by the visiting manager, but you know, West Ham have got to get the ball to the ball a little bit quicker. They're now, you know, dropping onto their heels a little bit more, not quite closing down, and just feeling with the physical presence that they've got, Nick, they're going to be able to shut Cardiff out, but the game doesn't always work like that.
Yes, Winston Reid was the player who was penalised for the foul, but no yellow card was shown. Peter Whittingham is looking after this free kick. It's very central, and it is 30 yards out. He isn't going to shoot. He's going to clip it towards the far post. Connolly rises, heads it down, cut out by O'Brien. Big shout for handball from the Cardiff fans, who had a good view of that behind the goal. Nothing from Howard Webb. Goes out for a corner to Cardiff.
Yeah, they were just not anticipating the flight of the delivery there from Whittingham. Perhaps they thought Bellamy was going to take it like he has. Connolly got round the back. Wasn't the best header, but pitched up. It was awkward for Joey O'Brien. Corner Cardiff.
Second corner Cardiff. This is an in-swinger, and it's palmed away by Jääskeläinen under all kinds of pressure, but he actually got to the ball well and got a good hand to it. It's gone out for a throw into Cardiff. And for the first time in this game, really, Bradley Allen, with 10 second half minutes played, you can say West Ham are under a bit of pressure.
They are. Cardiff building momentum, and they'll be hoping that they can find themselves an equaliser here, where they're having arguably their best spell of the game.
I suppose West Ham had to expect this. It was always going to come, as Whittingham drives a cross in, cleared by Demel from deep inside his own penalty area. Out it goes for another throw-in, which is taken by Declan John. Back it goes to Gary Medell, who rolls it square for Stephen Corker. Deep inside his own half, though, and the Cardiff City defender goes back to his goalkeeper. Demel almost put away down the right flank by Joe Cole, but tidied up by Whittingham, and back to Marshall, who clears to the halfway line. Collins gets there first. It's going to drop to Craig Bellamy in centre field, desperate to make his mark against his former side. Now it comes to Declan John down the left-hand side. He's going to clip this over halfway. Campbell the target, headed away by Collins, though. The West Ham fans starting to stamp their feet in unison. It makes this second tier at Upton Park a bit wobbly, actually, in the main stand. I hope they don't get any louder or any more vicious. As here's Whittingham in an advanced position for Cardiff, and he drives it well wide in the end. There were loads of options, again, either side of him. Craig Bellamy was one of them, and both managers are furious with something.
Sam Allardyce is furious, I think, with the compactness of his side, and he's saying that his defence is just dropping off. It's creating too much space. They're having a little bit more success, Cardiff, in terms of playing through the lines. Bit of zigzagging. Whittingham picked the ball up in a good position there, and he maybe let West Ham off the hook because he's got a good shot. He's renowned for scoring goals from that left foot from distance, Whittingham, and he dragged his shot wide.
This is tidied up by Gunnarsson for Cardiff, and then it's launched forward by Whittingham to try and find Fraser Campbell. Cut out by Reid. Reid goes long. No flag against Joe Cole. Can't control it though, and it gets away from him. He tried to control it. He would have been inside the box had he been able to control it, but it just got underneath his foot and runs away for a goal kick, which Marshall is going to take. We've had 13 second half minutes. It's 1-0 to West Ham. Joe Cole with the goal after 12 minutes. This goes all the way back to Marshall. I think the referee's unhappy with something.
Come out the box there as Corker tried to play out from the back.
Comes across from Craig Bellamy for Cardiff, cleared by West Ham, picked up by Diame, who bursts over halfway. Goodison goes with him, goes out for a throw-in, picked up by Medal, who we still haven't seen a great deal of. I mean, it's going to take him a while to bed into Premier League football. You can't just arrive from Spanish football and fit right in, even if you had £11 million paid for you. Here's Stephen Corker, who knows all about Premier League football, an £8 million purchase from Tottenham. Wide to Matthew Connolly, sent forward now for Craig Bellamy, tries to cut this out. It's cleared over the halfway line. Turner gets on the end of that, puts it out for another throw into West Ham. Whittingham has it for Cardiff inside the West Ham half of the field, sends it back to Medal on the halfway line. He's got plenty of options ahead of him, plays it square to Corker. Stephen Corker will advance into West Ham territory now. And Cardiff are seeing a lot of the football at the moment. And they're trying to get it wide to Campbell, who peeled away, but Diame has got hold of this and goes charging forward, and he's played that into some space. Back it goes to Marshall, who has to clear hurriedly. It's going to drop to Corker inside his own half. Corker takes it down his chest, finds Jarvis. And now here's O'Brien marauding forward for West Ham. Onto his left foot, feeds Maiga inside the box, and it tries to angle Trojan across the 6-yard box. And Kevin Nolan comes within an inch of making it 2-0. He thinks that Marshall got a touch to that. The referee has given a corner. Slightest of touches from David Marshall took it away from Nolan, who was sliding in as Maiga sent it across the 6-yard box.
Yeah, that was Cardiff's own undoing. You know, the initial clearance from goalkeeper Marshall was poor. Stephen Corker's first touch let him down. O'Brien was in. Maiga into the side of the box. He's, you know, almost, it was a cross-come shot, wasn't it? And the slight deflection that it took off the goalkeeper just made the ball pick up a little bit more pace, and as he slid in Kevin Nolan at that far post, he wasn't able to turn in a second.
There's a bit of treatment for David Marshall, actually. He might have fallen awkwardly as he made that save.
Yeah, just winding that left shoulder. Looks a little bit uncomfortable, but good chance here for Joe Cole, if that's the case, to just hang this one under the crossbar and get them basketball players to attack it in the middle.
That's right. We have James Collins, we have Winston Reid, we have Kevin Nolan all in there. We don't have Andy Carroll, but they've not missed him so far today. Eventually, everyone will be settled and this corner will be taken. Right-footed out swinger towards the edge of the box, flicked away by Ben Turner. Is Noble rather, with a cross into the box. Collins flicks it into the penalty area. Maiga going for this. Turner gets there first, hooked away by Bellamy, injury. And there's a head injury, so the game stopped. Maiga and Turner clashed heads as they tried to win that ball. I think Turner's okay. Maiga might need some treatment. Ben Turner has just booted the football out of the ground. That has landed on one of the Cardiff fans' coaches on the fast. Oh, and bless them, they've thrown it back. Well, that really is very spirited. The ball has
That's generous.
I tell you what,
that is very generous.
Generally, you'd never have seen that football would next be being used in a five-a-side tournament half a mile down the road.
Yes.
However, I'm not sure. To be honest, if a Premier League football landed at my feet and I was walking past, I'm not 100%. Well, I don't know. Maybe I probably would give it CCTV these days. Number 23 for West Ham United, Stuart Downing, shakes Sam Allardyce by the hand. And Matt Jarvis, who provided the cross for the West Ham goal and has looked pretty lively on that left-hand side, is the man who's withdrawn. And let's see what Stuart Downing's all about, Bradley Allen.
Well, he will be on his favoured left foot, that's for sure, on that left flank. Surprised at that one. I thought maybe with his injury problems in recent seasons, although he got on the score sheet this afternoon, Joe Cole would have been the one to come off. But it actually looks as if Cole's now going on the left-hand side to cut in and curl in with his right. Downing from this right-hand side to check back and deliver with that trusty left foot.
Here is Whittingham driving forward for Cardiff, and he's got some space to run into now, has Whittingham, and there are bodies forward. Here's Campbell to the right of centre, drives in across, it's deflected, goes behind everybody, stabbed away by Jamel. Important intervention. That cannoned off a West Ham leg and could have dropped to anybody. Nervous moments these. That's another good charge down by Kevin Nolan, and it runs all the way back into the Cardiff half. Marshall has to recycle it. Here come Cardiff once again, 18 minutes to go.
Well, I'm not sure, Nick, whether it's just fatigue that West Ham can't get up and closer to the ball, but they are certainly taking more risk. Cardiff committing players forward, looking to get Whittingham and Gunnarsson on the ball, and Bellamy is trying to support Fraser Campbell up front.
Here is Fraser Campbell again, trying to get away from Collins, and he's forced out wide, and he's left the football there and gone the other way, and Collins says, I'll have that. Nolan tries to hold it up, and here's Stuart Downing. Good turn of pace by him, and he's galloped into the Cardiff half. It's his first touch in a West Ham shirt. He's done really well to hold it up, and he's brought Joe Cole into the game. Down the left edge of the penalty area now, shoots, blocked by Connolly. But Stuart Downing turned the afterburners on there really quickly. Here's Diame, bustling forward, does well to hold it up. Runs into 4 or 5 Cardiff players though, goes back to Noble, who switches the play to the right-hand side. This is Downing once again onto his left foot. He's been forced onto his right foot though. That's a teasing cross headed behind by Ben Turner. And already, you know, we've only seen him for a couple of minutes, and he wants to be involved, and he wants to play, and he wants to provide ammunition.
Yeah, he looked fresh, just manoeuvred the ball, tried to curl it around the back of the Cardiff defence. That's lifted the West Ham supporters in and around that Bobby Moore stand. And Downing's going to clip this one in and under the crossbar. Looks as if there could well be a double change. Nick, I'll come back to you.
Yeah, Rudy Gestede is going to come on, as is Nicky Maynard for Cardiff. I think Craig Bellamy is coming off. I think we can confirm that Craig Bellamy is coming off, and Rudy Gestede's going to come on. He gets a round of applause. In fact, it's a mixed response, isn't he? He gets a round of applause from some. All the Cardiff fans on their feet. Gestede coming on, wearing 15.
Well, he's a presence, isn't he? Big, strong, powerful striker that they can offer a little bit more direct approach to and serve him. And Kim's come off, the number 13, and Nicky Maynard, who's had injury problems himself last season in the Championship.
Yes, he's going to come into the box. There's already a chat about how this is going to work defensively for Cardiff as they've changed personnel. We have got 15 minutes left, and Stuart Downing is going to strike this corner left-footed. It will swing in towards Maiga, headed away by Corker, comes back out to Downing on that side. Noble has it, drives infield, uses Downing on his own down that right flank. He'll run at the edge of the penalty area onto his right foot, stands across up looking for Nolan, nearly finds him, whipped away in the end by Turner, because Nolan was building himself up to head that towards goal, but they've got away with it, Cardiff City.
Well, as you said, Nick, I don't know if it's a change of club, but a new environment for Stuart Downing. He does look a £20 million winger at the moment, doesn't he?
I'll check the price tag. How much was it, Sam? 5 million? Looks better than that at the moment. We've only seen him for a couple of minutes, but he's been on the ball virtually constantly since coming on.
Fresh, he's been bright, very lively, and his end product has been excellent.
Noble bustling forward, gives it to Nolan, who shrinks it into the net! And that is the goal that surely wins the game for West Ham. With 15 minutes to go, West Ham have looked really bright since Stuart Downing came on. A driving run by Noble to the edge of the box, found Nolan, who was able to sweep home, didn't strike it cleanly, but it goes into the net. West Ham 2, Cardiff 0.
Yeah, all too easy for West Ham, again being built down this right-hand side. Lovely driving run across the pitch from Noble, and when it was rolled across his body, Kevin Nolan just swept it into the corner. Exquisite curling finish, 2-0, game over.
Joe Cole down the left, Maiga with him. Cole cutting in field now. Options to his right. Lifted into the box. Downing heads it back, actually. Does want to keep it in play to Demel. And then Nolan gets right underneath that. Shanks it off the tee. Goes into the Bobby Moore stand. Smiles all round, though, because West Ham know they've taken charge of this game again. Here is Gustavo. He's gone past Reed. And there's an opportunity here for a drive that goes well wide in the end. And Nicky Maynard is furious, because Maynard was free and unmarked to his right. And Gustavo went for glory himself. Blazed it well wide of goal. And Jussi Jääskeläinen is going to take it. And Gustavo has a conversation with the skies.
Possibly Cardiff's best chance, Nick, wasn't it?
Well,
for once, the ever-reliable Reed made a mistake. Substitute Gustavo got away, but there was a really good 2v1 if he'd have kept driving. He opted to shoot from outside the box, outside the right foot, and he screwed it well wide. Wasteful.
Yeah, Diarra's going to come on in a minute, and Maiga's jumping for this as it drops into the Cardiff half of the field. It's stopped raining, you'll be pleased to hear, but there's some leaden clouds above us. This is flicked on by Gustavo once again, trying to put Fraser Campbell away through the middle, but it's not really clicked up front. But Cardiff all game really. And again, they're another of these teams that might have more buying to do. You know, this may not be the finished article.
Let's not forget, Nick, they're without their big money signing. Andreas Cornelius,
Cornelius isn't fit.
The Danish striker who's not fit. He's carrying a knock at the moment, so they're dynamic. He will become the vocal point of the side, because for all his industry, Fraser Campbell, he hasn't really been able to hold the ball up, and the ball into him, the ball up to him hasn't been brilliant.
Mohamed Diarra is coming off. Another imposing afternoon's work for him. And Alou Diarra comes on in his place. And he is a real threat, isn't he? Here's a Cardiff throw inside their own half of the field. First touch for Diarra, who nods that on. There's a little shove in the back there by Gary Medal on Kevin Nolan, who has a broad
just lost their way, haven't they, Cardiff, a little bit? The stuffing's been knocked out of them. They look devoid of ideas. Just the body language of one or two of the players almost giving up the ghost somewhat.
Here's a free kick to West Ham, halfway inside the Cardiff half of the field, played short by Noble to Downing, and Downing goes one way then the other, and then right-footed tees this cross up, and Nolan heads it over the top. Right at the moment, it's a steady supply of deliveries from this right-hand side. He is tormenting poor Declan John down that left-hand side for Cardiff City, and again, you know, this is only his first appearance. He's only been on the pitch about 10 minutes. But as cameos go so far on your debut for West Ham United,
impressive, Nick.
Not the Cardiff free kick, though. Sent into the box, and it's headed away by Demel. Sent back into the mix by Connolly, and it's just over the top. That was a really teasing delivery by Peter Whittingham, and Demel was able to get his head to it. Otherwise, there were Cardiff players steaming in. They've earned a corner.
Header actually out from a really dangerous position, almost from underneath the crossbar. He was very deep there, Jääskeläinen, and Connolly, in fact, followed in from Demel's clearance, and he could have done better. The tone of his jump wasn't great. Might have been a foul on Jääskeläinen. Cardiff in swinging corner.
This comes in looking for Gustad, headed away by Nolan.
Breaks on.
And here goes Stuart Downing. He's got Fraser Campbell for company, and Campbell's done brilliantly to dispossess Downing there. Here's Medal's ball towards the edge of the West Ham box. It might drop to Nicky Maynard. Maynard goes down a shoulder to shoulder, really, with one of the West Ham defenders. I think it was Collins, and Winston Reid tells him to get up. No penalty, says Howard Webb. Header from Collins is not great, and it's been helped out wide to Gustad down the right-hand side. Maynard in the box. Here's Connolly's cross, low cross, looking for Whittingham, and it's steered over the top from point-blank range by Nicky Maynard. The drive from Whittingham, it may have actually been a shot, fell to Maynard inside the 6-yard box. That is Cardiff's best chance, and in fact, it's a bit of a horrible miss.
Well, the substitutions for Cardiff, both Maynard and Gustad, have certainly had two really gilt-edged opportunities that they haven't taken, and you know, you've got to give Malky Mackay a little bit of credit for chasing the game and, you know, hoping to salvage something, certainly a little bit of pride, and that was a very good opportunity for Maynard from close range.
Joe Cole announced as man of the match, there's no surprise, as that's flipped on by Maiga. Nolan might get goal side of Connolly, no, hooked away by the former QPR man over the halfway line. There's a head injury here for Stephen Corker, so the trainer will come on, the game will have to be stopped. Ricardo Vazte is going to come on, and he's getting a very warm hand. There's very little else that warms the heart of a West Ham season ticket holder than Joe Cole having a good game in claret and blue. Cardiff are on the attack once again. Gestedt is the target for this. He's got something on it. Might drop to Fraser Campbell.
Foul.
He shoots. He's been fouled. Free kick to Cardiff, just outside the D. Now, Peter Whittingham is going to line this up. This is 23 yards from goal, maybe a bit more than that.
Well, there is enough room here between the ball and the wall for Cardiff to get it up and over and beneath the crossbar. Whittingham has got a decent left foot. Awful lot of players between him and the goalkeeper Jyskalainen.
There is a wall that has about 16 players in it, and there's a gap in the middle. Some of them Cardiff, some of them West Ham. Every West Ham player is in
Like
this wall.
to be in that bus queue, Nick.
I reckon actually there must be nigh on 18 of the outfield players in there. Here's Whittingham, gets it over the wall, and it's just gone wide. Jyskalainen was scrambling, but he couldn't get a hand to it, and it had gone wide anyway. But that wall was
goalkeeper
extensive.
had that side of the goal as well covered. He flung himself, but it was always curling, drifting away from goal, and that's pretty much Cardiff's last attack of this game.
Fraser Campbell's coming off. They're obviously worried he's aggravated something, and Jordan Much has come on in his place. He will play for about 30 seconds, I would have thought. We're now playing the 6th minute of stoppage time. Howard Webb could blow his whistle at any point. Jyskalainen will take this goal kick again, and I think the referee's whistle will blow. Here is Alou Diarra centre field. There may be a little more time for West Ham to fashion something else. They lead 2-0, and it's been pretty comfortable as Gunnarsson battles away centre field, gives it to Medal. He's not had a terribly comfortable introduction to Premier League football, as Connolly chips it down the channel, headed away from danger by Winston Reid. Out of play it goes for another throw-in. And I think everybody's had enough.
Yeah, the West Ham supporters, are just hoping Howard Webb's going to blow his whistle so they can celebrate in the East End tonight.
And celebrate they will.
Rob Phillips saw the action.
Baptism for Cardiff City on their return to the top flight. At the home of the Bubbles anthem, the Bluebirds bubble was burst early on by Joe Cole, as Malky Mackay's men appeared to suffer a bout of first-night nerves. To be fair, the Bluebirds improved after the interval, but still found a well-organised West Ham side so hard to break down. And as Malky Mackay threw caution to the wind with attacking substitutions, experienced Kevin Nolan swept home the second with just over a quarter of an hour to go to make the game safe. Cardiff, who gave debuts to Declan John, Stephen Colker and Gary Medel, kept going to the end. Peter Whittingham shot inches wide from a free kick. But after the summer of spending and hype, this was a harsh reality for the Bluebirds, who were stifled going forward despite the persistence of Fraser Campbell. If Cardiff fans needed proof of the difficulty of survival, this was it. And it's Manchester City next. West Ham United 2, Cardiff City 0.
Well, alongside Rob at Upton Park, who saw the game for us, the former Cardiff captain, Jason Perry. And Jason, just listening to Rob's report there, was this a reality check for Malky Mackay's men, or is it too early to tell?
Well, I think Malky realises the obvious fact that in the Premier League there is no easy games. Everything is going to be difficult, and West Ham showed that. West Ham play to their strengths. We said it in commentary, Simon. They get the ball wide and they get it into areas, but everything they'd done today, West Ham, was Premier League class. And I think Cardiff come out, especially in the first half, and asked themselves the question, am I good enough? And they sat back, they were too cautious, invited pressure, and got away with it, only being 1-0 down. Second half was different. They went out and they expressed themselves a little bit better, pushed people forward, and made a game of it. But again, they learnt about the Premier League. Brave substitutions, 3 centre forwards on the field, matter of minutes. Kevin Nolan does what he's done all his career, Simon. Finds a little bit of space, a little bit of composure, 2-0 down, game over. But it's about the changing room now. You've just said it's the first game of the season, a difficult season. We said that from the start. We never expected Cardiff City to make it easy, but they've just got to learn and learn quickly.
We know that Cardiff City are going to lose games in the Premier League. That is a given the quality on offer in this league. Does today's result underline then for you, Jason, the importance of home games for Malky Mackay's men?
Yeah, it's definitely a factor. Need to take their home games, need to get their points, need to beat the teams in and around them that are going to finish in that bottom 6, need to try and pinch points against teams like West Ham away from home. But it's also told me, and I'm sure it's told Malky, he needs to be busy in the transfer market. They're still 2, possibly 3 players short. They need a little bit of help out there. But again, he has to work with the group he has to work hard and has to continue to believe that Cardiff City have that quality to stay in a difficult league.
But with